Okay, we're on to the review for chapter 13. As we talk about the review, we need to remember that OH is an alcohol ending. You name it normally and then add OL to the ending and add the number of carbon that the OH is coming off of. Phenols are benzyl rings with OH coming off of it and named as phenols. Alcohols are classified on the number of carbons attached to the carbon that's attached to the OH. Remember that you have primary, secondary, and tertiary. So this one right here is a tertiary because it has 3 carbon chains attached to the carbon that's attached to the OH. If you look in the green, this is a secondary because it has just 2 carbon chains attached to the carbon that is attached to the OH. And then the end one here is a primary because it has just 1 carbon chain attached to the carbon that's attached to the OH. Some of the properties of alcohols. They have hydrogen bonding between alcohol and alcohol or a water molecule. They have higher boiling points than other molecules of similar mass, and they're soluble in water. Some of the reactions that we need to remember are dehydration. Remember that 180 degrees, it becomes an alkene. At 140, it becomes an ether. We also have oxidation that we're worried about. Remember, dehydration was also called elimination. Oxidation of a primary alcohol will yield an aldehyde, which with further oxidation will yield a carboxylic acid. A secondary alcohol with oxidation will yield a ketone, and a tertiary will have no reaction. So other important alcohols that we need to remember and their uses: methanol is used as a solvent and a fuel, ethanol as an alcoholic beverage and in gasohol. Isopropyl alcohol is used in rubbing alcohol, and ethylene glycol as antifreeze, and glycerol as a moistening agent. And so there's some examples of each of those. Some characteristics and uses of phenols. Remember, this is a phenol. You can draw it either way. Phenols are generally solids with low melting point and or oily liquids at room temperature. They are widely used as antiseptics and disinfectants. So when we talk about ethers are what they used to put people to sleep for surgeries. Remember, it's ether this or that. They're alkoxy groups, and we can have an alkoxy group hooked up, methoxy, ethoxy. The properties of ethers are they're unreactive like alkanes. They can form hydrogen bonds with water, but not with themselves. Their boiling points are comparable to hydrocarbons of similar mass and lower than alcohols. They're less polar than alcohols. They're slightly soluble in water. And then we have the thiols and the disulfides. These contain an SH group. You add thiol at the end of the name. They impart a strong disagreeable odor. And disulfides are 2 sulfides that are joined together with carbon chains coming off each end. So remember, stinky. Okay, 2 important reactions of thiols that are important in protein chemistry are the oxidation to produce a disulfide and the reaction with heavy metals such as mercury. And the disulfides may be converted back to thiols by a reducing agent, so our body uses this. Remember about polyfunctional compounds and being able to identify different functional groups. It is common for organic compounds to contain more than 1 functional group, and many of the compounds that serve essential roles in life are polyfunctional. Study hard, and we'll see you in class.